Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've been on the tubes. First, before I start this off, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been sharing my things to stay in 2013 turfs video, especially being that it's June, Pride Month. We got to do everything we can to spread the word about bigotry and push the message of diversity and acceptance of everyone. So, um, I watched three videos last weekend titled Insecurities. There were two videos that basically piggybacked off of the original one made by HealthyAddict. The Peach made one, and MC Brooks made a video as well with the same title, in which they discuss the issues they dealt with in their formative years, growing up, how it's affected them, and where they are today as far as those issues are concerned. They're all great videos, and if you haven't watched them already, I suggest you go and check them out. Needless to say, given what I've been going through for the past month and a half, let's just say I can more than relate to the subject matter. And it's my insecurities and constant battles with self-esteem and self-love from my formative years until now that has brought me to this point. I don't really remember being necessarily taught to hold myself in high regard for its own sake, to just love myself for the person that I am. Somewhere along the line as a kid, between developing my love of drawing and practicing it every single day, to learning the cello in elementary school, being a part of winter and spring concerts in my elementary school, somehow my self-worth came from what I was able to do to get attention, to get praise. And since I wasn't really shown to like myself, I didn't see why others would, even though I was a very friendly person and I wanted to fit in with other people just like everyone else. And of course, being nerdy and quirky and not into certain things like fashion and gossip or whatever at the time, I never really fit in with a specific group or clique. Being a sensitive kid didn't really help matters either, so when I was teased or talked about or bullied, it really bothered me to the point where I just became distrustful of other people, of girls especially, and wasn't sure if I was likable by anybody. It would drive me nuts because, I wasn't narcissistic. I didn't think I was the shit or anything. But at the same time, I didn't think I was a horrible person either. So on top of that, I had some body issues growing up. I was mainly a scrawny kid, so it wasn't that bad, but being a tomboy, it became it grew out of not just me liking certain things that, those stereotypical things that girls aren't supposed to like. In a way, it also became necessary, like a defense mechanism, to dress in baggy jeans and sneakers and all that, because if I ever wore anything more feminine, like, nice shirts, skirts and shorts, or even, the skirts. I liked the skirts growing up. If I wore anything like that, I'd have to deal with street harassment and catcalling from boys and from men old enough to be my dad or my granddad. So, and dealing with that was annoying. It really creeped me out. So, anyway, my main problem was not liking myself enough to know that I deserve to be happy and to accept myself as I am, regardless of whatever type of job I had or career choice I made for school, or whether or not I was able to work out, to feel good and look good. I still struggle with insecurities like that to this day, which is probably why I'm at the place where I am now. About a month and a half ago, I was slipping into a depression. If you follow me on Twitter or if you know me on Facebook, you know that I was really into fitness. I was a gym rat. Last week, I competed in my very first bikini competition, and I wanted to compete again this year. But this time around, I was having problems with my prep because I had to come down some weight. I had to come down in a significant amount of body fat to officially start prep, and I was having a really hard time with it, nutrition wise, and wanting to do cardio and all that stuff. And it was becoming harder and harder to come down on weight, and I became very self-critical and very self-conscious because of it. My body wasn't also the same cardio-wise as it used to be. You know, when you go from being able to really do intense cardio and everything, and then you stop for a while, and then you try to pick it up again, of course, you know, your body has to readjust and everything like that. And so, and while I was okay with that, it still made me feel even worse. So I began to get really depressed about it. And then a few days later, on my way to work, I had a panic attack out on the street. Prior to that morning, I've never had a panic attack before. It's probably the most scariest thing I've ever experienced thus far. You feel so out of control of your body, of what's going on. You feel weak. Your heart's racing as if you've just ran 10 races in a day, and you feel that everything's coming to an end. You don't know if you're going to die. You think you're having a heart attack. You know, you're thinking the worst, and you think that everything is just crashing down on you. So after calling for an ambulance and spending most of my day in the ER, I was diagnosed with an anxiety panic attack, and I was told to seek therapy to get to the root of the problem. Before, I thought it was just me being overly self-critical, becoming depressed, and later still dealing with the physical symptoms of anxiety in the morning, sometimes to the point where I was scared to go out the house because I wasn't sure if I was going to have another panic attack. Because, I mean, what's worse than having another one? So, you know, so I found a therapist, and I started the recovery process, and I even kept a diary, an anxiety diary. But I was still having really bad physical manifestations of anxiety. I was still suffering from that in the morning. And, you know, trying to deal with that plus trying to work my way through a depression proved to be really difficult. And it only deepened my depression, and I started thinking that I would never get better. And I would feel so low at times that I started having suicide ideations, which would just start up my anxiety, and it would make me break out into crying fits and everything. You know, because I was caught between a lot of conflicting feelings and thoughts. Do I want to hurt myself? No, I'm a coward. I can't inflict pain on myself. And I hate pain, like physical pain like that, you know, but do I want to keep living like this? Is it worth living like this? Do I just want to be over and done with? Is there no way out of this? So, after having episodes like this for about a few days, I voluntarily went to the emergency psychiatric care over Memorial Day weekend for observation. And so I can get the help that I needed, because I needed help. Obviously I was having trouble trying to readjust back to life, and I couldn't do it on my own. So I went and I got helped. And I stayed in hospital for 3 days. After which, I was diagnosed with MDD, major depressive disorder, and panic disorder without agoraphobia. And I was given emergency medication for a week. After jumping through numerous hoops to get intake at a counseling center, getting my medications refilled by my primary doctor, and reaching out to my family, to my paramours, my friends, attending a mood disorder support group, lots of self-reflection, and watching videos. Sorry. I realized that the core of my current problem is how I built my self-esteem. It was built, as I said, on things that I was able to do and love to do, like going back to school to finish my degree, being a gym rat, and competing with the bikini competitions. The problem with that is it's a shaky foundation, because you're building your self-worth on accomplishments alone, not just how you feel about yourself as a person, period. I thought I was building self-love though, but it was built via things, not just loving myself for being a good person, a loyal friend, kind and generous, and, many other things. So when I had the panic attack due to the things that I loved doing, turning into sources of stress and being overly self-critical and, I could say, self-hate, I was left with nothing to really stand on, because my identity was built on the things that I liked to do. I totally put my worth into those things and to the labels that I held on to, and not more solid ground. Not because I felt that things, not because I felt the things that make me me, just the regular things like being good and kind and all that. I didn't think that those things were really significant, or, anything to really harp about, So this is where I am now. I withdrew from school. I don't do shows anymore, but I'm still here, and I'm okay with that. It's time for me to really just get used to me. Not that I don't necessarily know myself, but to really start appreciating the little things that make me me. Not accomplishments, not hobbies and activities and accomplishments, but things that make me me. And to truly start to love myself and hold myself in much higher regard than I have been through the years.